Well, let's turn our attention to another story. The Bring Back Our Girls campaign group wants the federal government to rescue the remaining Chibok schoolgirls held captive by Boko Haram militants.
Now, let's play back this report put together by one of our reporters some time ago when some of the Chibok girls were rescued. But there are calls for the search to continue.
One thing has unified these women: tragedy. They have been brought together by a sense of loss, equally shared, a feeling of despair as they ponder their fate and their helplessness, as they wonder when, or more frightening, if their girls will come back. The 14th day of April is one day that is forever engraved in the hearts of these women. A day that began like every other day, ended with the abduction of over 200 of their daughters, who were in school preparing for a national examination by the terrorist group known as Boko Haram. Through their tears, these women have come, bold enough to tell their stories in the country's commercial capital, far away from the scene of the incident. One thing has unified these women: tragedy. They have been brought together by a sense of loss, equally shared, a feeling of despair as they ponder their fate and their helplessness, as they wonder when, or more frightening, if their girls will come back. The 14th day of April is one day that is forever engraved in the hearts of these women. A day that began like every other day, ended with the abduction of over 200 of their daughters, who were in school preparing for a national examination by the terrorist group known as Boko Haram. Through their tears, these women have come, bold enough to tell their stories in the country's commercial capital, far away from the scene of the incident, where they can at least feel safe. No matter how many times one hears the tale, it still remains heartbreaking. Kucheli Balami, founder of Gabasawa Women, says she had no choice but to join the women in their cry for help, as this is what she stands for. These are not ghosts, but 3 of the girls that managed to escape from the grasps of Boko Haram. The covering is necessary to enable them maintain their identity and move on when all this is over. Their presence, though a relief, remains a constant reminder to the women that their girls are still missing.
One of the doctrines of Boko Haram is no school. And if the males are to go to school, you should go to Islamia school to read Arabic. But girls should marry and produce children and remain home. That is their doctrine. And therefore, anybody who goes to school other than Islamia school as males is out. That is the doctrine.
For every new day that the missing Chibok girls remain gone, their families, friends and the community hold on tighter to dwindling hopes that their daughters will come back alive and well.
Right.
That report
wow.
was to refresh the memory of Nigerians how things have been all the while.
Well, joining us now is a development practitioner, Abimbola Junaid. Good morning and thanks for joining us. It's still a very somber feeling when you hear about the stories of this Chibok girls. These are real human beings that have had to experience harrowing experiences, you know, for lack of a better word, 1,000 days and still counting.
Yeah.
Now, let's look at the latest development where you had BBOG, some 3 or so of them, joining the troops to look at the Sambisa forest and all of that. Do you think this might give a sense of appreciation on the part of the BBOG that they may tend to be more patient with government, having experienced this firsthand?
Well, that puts a smile to my face because BBOG has just been faithful Nigerians in a democratic setting, demanding accountability. It isn't about patience because, like you rightfully said, we're talking about the lives of over 197 girls still missing. And no parent wants to wake up each day not knowing how far things are going, not knowing if truly the resources that has been deployed is working towards bringing their kids back home. And of course, no parents wants to have a government that they voted that actually did say to Nigerians that's there for everybody to then think that they're over demanding. So let's put that clearly, that it is within their purview and rights to demand as when they would like from the federal government of accountability around the rescue of the girls. Now, the search and the asking of members of BBOG to come along is actually, you know, participatory governance, in the sense that this issue concerns all of us, and BBOG does have its stakeholders, and the government has us, the citizenry, as its stakeholders. So on both sides, there is pressure. There's pressure to know what you're doing in terms of accountability to your groups. And in the past, they've had headlong battle just simply because there wasn't a strategic communication plan in place. So what this shows is that after all, the government is listening and is willing to move further than an inch to meet the BBOG at some center. But of course, you know, BBOG also did ask for the trip to be postponed for
yes.
some negotiations. Again, it is reflective of the need of the government to realize that in this sort of operation, you have stakeholders. You cannot just spring it on people 2 days down. They've also got their stakeholders to probably give some information to, and of course their own press statements about those issues too would help to add to whatever publicity the government may be putting in place. So both sides still needs to be working on this already seeming fragile relationship in the past.
Okay, let's bring Foladele in here to, if she's ready. Okay, maybe Foladele is not ready now, but let's get into. Okay, maybe Foladele is ready. Let's have her before we get on the discussion. Fola, good morning again.
Okay, so let's see what people are saying online about this one. Good morning, by the way, Abimbola. Very good morning to you. Ifwende says, so a guy refuses to cede power, which is totally normal. And now we have countries ready to help, but no same vigor in saving Chibok girls. Atsagundu Jr. says, at OBSX rather, he says, the rest of the world heard you loudly. Sambisa Forest acknowledged your presence. Bring back our innocent Chibok girls. Aisha Yesufu says, what are we demanding? Hashtag bring back our girls, now and alive. Fight for Chibok girls is the fight for the soul of Nigeria. Jerry Omoba Secundo says, say what you want, this government must be applauded for the release of the Chibok girls. Hopefully more, and all will be released. Hashtag bring back our girls, hashtag Chibok. Giwa Mariam says, hopeful and keeping the remaining 196 Chibok girls in our prayers. Bring back our girls. Bimbola, really quickly, would you say that, how would you rate the government's performance so far in the release of the girls? Of course, we know that some have been released, but of course nowhere near the amount that we would like. But how would you, I mean, people have said different things, as I'm sure you've heard. How would you rate their performance? Would you say that we should commend them for what they've done so far?
Well, I would say that in the past fight for the rescue of the girls, the mission, we had one jet fighter. And recently, like Ms. Obiasikuseli did say in a press statement after the trip, we've got 4 firefighters. So in that, it shows that more funds that are accountable seem to have been deployed and it's being used for the right cause. So no one is saying they aren't achieving or moving forward with the fight, but what is being asked is that they should be more transparent and collaborative in this plan so that everybody can be on the same page. And I don't think that's too much to ask.
Yeah, definitely not. All right, thank you.
Fola, thank you very much. Thank you.
So do you think that this tour of Sambisa Forest will actually convince the BBOG that government really is serious and determined to find the remaining girls? Will a day's trip, is it enough to actually convince anyone?
The imagination that's been running on the minds of everybody is how big is Sambisa Forest? What's it like?
Yes, 11 times,
you know, and at
the size of
18,
Lagos.
18 times.
Yes.
Okay.
You know, and it is very interesting to know that imagination plays a whole lot of important role in any rescue mission. So for the BBOG, it's more realistic now. They've been there, and again, Ms. Obi Ezekwesili did say that probably, yes, the war on insurgency is being won in some parts of Sambisa, which the terrorists had a stronger hold, but probably they've moved the girls even further down. So with that sort of statement coming from her, that showed some kind of understanding. And I think in all of this, everything Nigerians are asking for about the whole insurgency fight against it is just to be carried along so that we can all feel this, because it's a national issue. And those mothers wake every day and feel that is there hope for them. And you have supporters around the world still hoping and dreaming about it. So all they want is some kind of information that keeps hope alive. And yes, we may not have won it yet, but the hope is alive. The negotiations were still demanding that they should take place so that the rest of the girls can come back home.
Okay, we'll come back to this. Let's go on a break and we come to do more on this. Stay with us on TVC Breakfast. Right, if you're just joining us, you're watching TVC Breakfast, and we are discussing the Chibok girls. The search is still going on, and we're discussing all the issues towards this search and putting pressure on government to continue this search for the remaining Chibok girls. And we have with us in the studio Abimbola Junaid discussing this with us. Now, earlier on, you talked about the issue of government needs to carry Nigerians along. In that context of carrying Nigerians along, how should that carrying along play out? Is it that, anyway, fine, just educate us more on that. Maybe it will give us a better understanding of.
Yeah, I mean, what I think is the missing link here is a partnership. You know, you've heard, the BBOG group have gone out several times to protest against what they seem to believe is the ignoring of their protests or complaints to the federal government. Meanwhile, the federal government does have the power to quench that through the Ministry of Information, you know, having a dialogue with them, putting in place some strategy to update the organizers and the families, you know, regularly about the position of things, and of course giving them some kind of avenue to continuously engage. For example, in the planning of this operation, some may say that it's sensitive, it's highly militarily involving, so probably they couldn't divulge that information. But if that relationship had been there, the BBOG wouldn't be caught unawares that, oh, for the first time, or some kind of communicate, oh, you're asking us to come along on this mission. It would just be established that it is there. And but many times we've also found that the governments are actually more defensive than, you know, proactively engaging with the citizenry, and that's what makes democracy different. You must be seen to be very participatory and inclusive more than being defensive. So
do you get a sense that government might just be trying to mend fences with the BBOG? I mean, before they went on this trip, the BBOG had asked Buratai to apologize for the statement he made. He accused them of being social media terrorists. Will this bring about some kind of...
Isn't it an irony that just yesterday, you know, some media house was actually raided because some chief of army staff felt offended. It's just the same with the BBOG. You do want to protect your image and your character, and you do not want that to be in any way, shape or form destroyed over, you know. And of course, I think that is going to the extreme, calling them, you know, terrorists, just because they're
social
mothers.
Media terrorists.
Social media terrorists, just because they're mothers that are demanding. You use all tactics and manner to ensure that your case is priority amongst the pile of cases that the federal government have to deal with. So it isn't good enough to be labeled, you know, terrorists. But of course, like I said, it's a welcome development that they've called and carried them along on this journey. We're just going to hope that that window remains open and not shut. And to add to that, called and carried them along on this journey. We're just going to hope that that window remains open and not shut. And to add to that, Ms. Obi Ezekwesili actually then mentioned the need to continuously protect our troops out there. So it isn't just about them.
The girls
What they're
only.
saying is accountability for the past funds that have, you know, for those that have been indicted, just to put that sense of trust and accountability
All
in
right,
our government.
just hold that thought. Let's bring Azizat Olaoluwa in, who is ready to bring us the news update. Over to you now, Azizat.
Thank you, Mike and Ngozi. The police in Abuja have released the 2 Premium Times journalists arrested on Thursday afternoon for alleged defamation. Dapo Olorunyomi, publisher of the newspaper, was arrested alongside the judiciary correspondent Evelyn Okaku at around 5 p.m. local time. They were released on bail and instructed to report at the FCT Police Command headquarters by 8 a.m. Friday morning. But a highly placed police source said the invitation could be a ploy to detain the journalists for an extended period. The development has sparked widespread condemnation, with Amnesty International promising to launch an investigation into the motive behind the arrest. The desire of the ruling All Progressives Congress APC to fully control the Nigerian Senate by gaining the critical 2/3 majority needed to take full decisions is gradually coming to reality. But this followed the defection of another senator to its fold from the minority PDP on Thursday. The APC has never hidden its desire to fully control the Nigerian Senate, just like the opposition PDP did when it was in power. As part of its campaign, it received a new member from the PDP at Thursday's plenary. Senator Nelson Effiong of Akwa Ibom's South Senatorial District says he is defecting due to the prolonged crisis in the PDP. Senator Effiong's defection to the APC has increased the ruling party's number to 64, just 9 seats short of the required 73 majority seats needed to impeach presiding officers or take key national decisions such as confirmation of presidential nominees. The Speaker of the Rivers State House of Assembly, Ikunyi Owaji Ibani, has continued to insist that the election of APC lawmaker as minority leader of the House followed due process. Owaji Ibani's position is in connection with reactions the issue is still generating across the state. The Speaker denied insinuations that plans had already been hatched to suspend all APC lawmakers who staged a walkout from Tuesday's plenary. Rather than make a mountain out of a molehill, the Speaker has advised any political party caucus to rather push for an amendment of any contentious sections of the standing order of the House. And that's it on the news update. Back to Mike and Ngozi for the rest of the program.
Thank you, Azizat. All right, thanks for staying with us on TVC Breakfast. We're still looking at the efforts at finding the remaining Chibok girls. That's what we're talking about right now. And recently, the federal government invited members of the Bring Back Our Girls campaign to join them in the search or the tour around Sambisa Forest, which is one of the largest forest areas and has been the hideout or haven for the Boko Haram. So they can get to see firsthand the difficulties or the area that the military has to go through in search of the girls. We have with us, we have with us Abimbola Junaid with us, a development practitioner with us in the studio discussing this. All right, now before I go to my wall to bring us Abimbola, let me ask this question. This invitation of the BBOG to accompany the military and the minister and all of that is part of the inclusiveness you were talking about.
That's right.
But apart from the BBOG members being on the train and being included in this case, how does it translate into assisting the government to be more proactive or something? How does it translate into that?
Well, it wasn't just the BBOG group on that tour. It was also international media as well as local media,
Yes.
and also, you know, writers and bloggers that have been sustaining the campaign. And one of the reasons that the Ministry of Information via Alhaji Lai Mohammed, one of the reasons why they couldn't postpone that trip was because they had gone on to put so much structure in place, including international satellites, so that, you know, the world can have a glimpse of this whole thing, because that is what is needed to help the government's image be seen positively, that they are not actually ignoring this group. And it, of course, gives a reinforced hope to the family, more than anything else to the mothers, because they are the ones that are going through the most horrendous feeling every day, seconds and minutes. So on the part of the government, I think that being done also shows that they've actually put in resources. They're prioritizing the need to find the girls, and it gives hope to both sides, both the government and BBOG and everybody concerned. Especially, we still have doubters out there that still think that this is not true. So the government wouldn't spend so much money or so much time, resources wanting to do all of this without that indeed and in fact the girls are missing.
Okay. All right, let's get to my wall now,
indeed.
so we can bring more perspective to what we are talking about right now. Okay, now let's do this. Now, Nigerians were still reeling from the shock of the issue of the missing girls over the years. The point there is, across the country, across the world, they have not really gotten over the issue of the fight against Boko Haram in Nigeria. We remember the motor park bombing in Abuja some time ago, in the nation's capital, on April the 14th, precisely 2014, when Boko Haram militants struck in the night, abducting about 276 schoolgirls from their hostel in Chibok. That was, anyway, after Abuja, days after, the one in Borno, in Chibok, in Borno State, took place. About over 200 schoolgirls were abducted, and the search for the girls began, gaining the attention of the global media and even the world powers. Now, let's streamline the discussion to our topic of the day, which is the continued search for the missing girls. Now, about 57 of the girls managed to escape on that day of the abduction, but 276 girls were abducted originally. 57 girls escaped, and then 219 girls were taken away. Now, that was the statistics. And then the search has been for this missing girls, because about 57 that came back actually got reunited afterwards, but 219, we've been searching for them over the years. Now, some of the girls had their release negotiated by government, while others were found wandering in the fringes of the forest. At least 195 girls are still in captivity, while 18 parents of the abducted girls have died. Now, 119 girls are still in captivity. Like I said, 18 parents are still are dead or the parents are dead. Let's move on. Now, earlier we had Amina Ali Nkeki was the first to be found in May 2016, one of the Chibok girls. And that day, I remember, it was all Nigeria went agog with
the
finding
whole world,
the first
as a matter of fact.
Chibok girl that's been missing over the years. And then after her, we had then we had
1-to-1.
we had another one, Mohammed Hayatu, a suspected Boko Haram militant in May 2016. Now, she is the first of the 219 schoolgirls to be freed since the immediate aftermath of their capture. Now, 21 girls were released by Boko Haram after negotiations with the Nigerian government brokered by the International Committee of the Red Cross and the Swiss government in October 2016. Now, this is a picture of, I remember this picture with the president at that time. All right. Now, after that, another girl, Mariam Ali Meyanga, was found and rescued alongside her baby in November 2016, and it has been the trickling in. And we had Ricky Abubakar also earlier in January 5, 2017. She was also found, rescued. Now, the major challenge is finding the remaining girls in the Sambisa forest. Let's take you on a virtual journey to the forest now. Let's get on. Now, Sambisa forest is located in Borno State, northeast Nigeria. It borders the Chad Basin to the south, and then it also the Nigeria to the east and Cameroon to the Cameroon Mountains to the north. So it covers this entire area. This is Nigeria, this is Niger Republic, Chad, and then Cameroon. And in the whole of this region, this whole of this middle region here, it cuts across, Sambisa Forest cuts across this area, and then it goes beyond even just a state. Let's move on to understanding more of this. Now, Sambisa Forest before now, specifically during the colonial period, there used to be a forest used for the home. It used to be home for the popular Sambisa Game Reserve. Now, the reserve was used for safaris, and it had a large population of leopards, lions, elephants, hyenas, and that tourists could observe from cabins or safari lodges before it was abandoned.
It means that the Sambisa Forest has now come to be known for the wrong reasons.
For the wrong reasons.
A place that used to be a tourist attraction. It's amazing.
It's really, I'm telling you. All right, let's try to finish this before we go on a break. Now, today, Sambisa is home to the deadly terrorist Boko Haram, and since 2013, the flora and the fauna of the forest had been trampled upon. That's where the world believes the girls are. Now, in Sambisa Forest is so large because from recent comments, the Sambisa Forest is a large expanse of land covering about 60,000 square kilometers. And now we hear it's about 18 times bigger than Lagos State. That's a big one.
Massive.
And it occupies parts of the northern states of Borno, Yobe, Gombe, Bauchi, Jigawa, and Kano State. Now, it is believed that Boko Haram elements seek shelter in the mountainous region of Goza near the Cameroon border, and the girls are either used as sex slaves or married to loyal fighters. Now, let's go on a break before I ask any other further questions on this. Stay with us on TVC Breakfast. Let's go on a break and we come back on this.
Right, welcome back. You're watching TVC Breakfast, and we're looking at Chibok girls, the continued search for the girls. Well, a number of them have been found, about 23 or so of them, but there are quite a number of them still in the hands of the captives. Yes, indeed. And looking at the Sambisa Forest, a forest that encompasses 4 nations. Well, with a visit of the BBOG to that forest with the armed forces, they may begin to understand
the challenges in finding
serious
the girls.
challenges in finding the girls, and hopefully it may change the dynamics of this war. Not that it will reduce or dampen their call for these girls to be brought back, but maybe it will engender some kind of patience. Well, Abimbola Junaid is a development practitioner. Let's look at the girls specifically, and the fact that a number of them have come back with babies. Even the ones that didn't come back with babies, one might say they have actually lost their innocence.
Definitely.
Yes, we're happy that they're coming back. Well, with the visit of the BBOG to that forest with the armed forces, they may begin to understand
the challenges in finding
serious
the girls.
challenges in finding the girls, and hopefully it may change the dynamics of this war. Not that it will reduce or dampen their call for these girls to be brought back, but maybe it will engender some kind of patience. Well, Abimbola Junaid is a development practitioner. Let's look at the girls specifically, and the fact that a number of them have come back with babies. Even the ones that didn't come back with babies, one might say they have actually lost their innocence.
Definitely.
Yes, we're happy that they're coming back, but there should be more that we can give to these girls. What should government really be doing for them to restore?
If we liken this case to the most recent of a lady in the UK, in the US, that was stolen at birth, the government has come hard on the woman, and the lady in question is actually pleading. So the very first thing we should be thinking about is Stockholm syndrome. you know, which is the girls believing so much in the cause itself and actually becoming the, you know, an enemy of the society. That is very strong on. Because they've been away from, you know, mainstream society, and they've been brainwashed, because no matter how you stay away in isolation, you would need something to keep going. And at some point, you would just give into your environment and avenue. So that is one of the reasons that the government should be careful, in the sense that they really need to understudy these girls, their mindset again, their soul and body. And of course, they need therapy. And this is probably going to take a lifetime of therapy to get over whatever trauma this has placed on their minds and heads. Then, of course, you know, it's hopeful that they're alive, they've been found. So what does the future hold for them? And you know, the stories, the horrendous stories we hear about the IDPs are not even of any help, because you then wonder what would happen if they choose to relocate back to their own environs. Has there been a reconstruct? What sort of hope is there for them? Does this mean it shapes their lives forever, that they can never be the same again? But and also, how sensitive are we as Nigerians not to even label them, so that stigmatize, label them, so that they can carry on with their lives? And most importantly, they're still the future of Nigeria, to contribute to the nation one way or the other.
Abimbola Junaid, thank you very much for coming on the program. And we wish Nigeria well, and all the military and all those who are involved in the search for the girls. Wish them well in bringing or restoring stability in the Northeast. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Right, stay with us. We'll be discussing the next topic, also concerning the Northeast. Stay with us.